My friend's mom pushed me into a table saw, by user Bfu. This happened 8 months ago. My friend, Keelan, and I work in a woodworking company. It's a pretty great job for me, as I love hands-on activity and creating things. Keelan, however, has more of a difficult time with it all. Which is completely fine as I help him with it. His mom and my mom aren't necessarily close, but both support me and him in our work. We're pretty young, so it helps with reassurance. But a few days before this incident, I started to realize that Keelan's mom never really acknowledged my work. Now that's not really a big deal to me as I don't require praise, but I do find it a bit weird as KY's mom has apparently had a few racial incidents at her own work and I'm African. I was just assuming it's because she's afraid. I'm a pretty built guy and 6'6". Fast forward to Tuesday, and I'm working on a wooden chair that has taken me a few more attempts than wanted. The table saw I had been using to make clean cuts was pretty rusty from KY using it constantly. I headed out to the department to get a replacement and was a bit annoyed with KY not doing it himself. I came back and said, "Hey man, don't be afraid to change your equipment." And he rolled his eyes and just replied with AK. Which just annoyed me even more. I just pushed past it and continued. But minutes later, I heard KY laughing and I looked up to find him laughing at my cutting. This made me extremely upset as I've been working almost day and night while he only works 7 to 9 hours. This along with his mom recently coming into shop and laughing along with him. This got to me and I walked over to KY and told him a few words that I shouldn't have. He immediately got defensive and pushed me back and I was about to strike back when his mom instantly joined in with him and intentionally pushed me to the left where the saw was. Stupidly, I left it on. As soon as I was pushed back, the back of my hand was shoved right into the saw causing a drizzle of blood to just gush everywhere and for my palm to be basically split in half with a huge gap between my pinky and ring finger. The shock kicked in and I instantly grabbed my hand and shouted for my mom who was on the other side of the shop. She immediately got an ambulance and I was sent to the closest hospital. KY has been texting me almost every day apologizing for his mother. The only text from her was her saying that this was my fault and to not hurt her son. Update: after scrolling through the comments, I think I need to clear some things up. I am 17 years old. I'm allowed to work here because my brother-in-law, 29, owns it along with his father. I'm trusted. How did I manage to keep the saw on? Again, I'm not sure myself. Extremely critical mess up on my part. Your hand would have been split in half. Yes. It is basically split in half. It stopped at a gap in between and thankfully by a miracle wasn't completely cut in half, but was itching off the edge from a clean cut down the middle. Minor update. I got in contact with M's husband and told her about the full situation and that she was intentionally trying to harm me. Apparently M had been telling her husband a completely different story. He seemed pissed and said he'd talk to M. This was about 3 hours ago. My father wants to get paid for being my groomsman, by user DEnernst123. I never had the best relationship to my dad. He never abused me emotionally or physically or was an alcoholic, but once I got 18 he was only interested in my money and always acted like I owe him. And while I tried to give back something since he was a good dad in my childhood, at some point it was just enough for me and I felt like I just getting taken advantage of. So we went out of touch for a few years. A few weeks ago, I got engaged with my longtime girlfriend, and while I didn't see my father for like 4 years I still wanted him to be my groomsman, and hoped that it will bring us closer together again and force us to talk some real talk for once. But when I met him and asked him about whether he wants to be my groomsman or not, he said, well, of course I could do that, but you would have to pay €300. At first I bursted out laughing because I thought he is joking, but then I saw the serious look in his eyes and knew that he wasn't joking. I broke out in tears and drove home. He called me and I declined. He called me again and I accepted the call. He obviously heard that I am crying and asked me if I don't have enough money, and that's the reason why I am crying. I hanged up, blocked his phone number and didn't try to reach him since. I feel like worthless trash because of this and I have no clue if I ever want to see him again. I still invited my mom. They got divorced when I was 19, and she happily accepted. So TLDR, I asked my father, whom I haven't seen for 4 years, to be my groomsman and now he wants €300 for it. Edit: wow, this post exploded. I read all the comments but I can't respond to everyone. Just know that I really appreciate your warm words, kind strangers. It really made my day. Heavy black heart. My entitled parents refuse to respect my wishes, by user SpookEyeBeagle. I was going to post this in baby bumps but as I kept writing, I realized it belonged here. I will try to keep this concise, but I am on mobile, so bear with me, please. I am a 27Y/OF married to a 26Y/OM. We are parents to a 2-year-old F. I am about 4 months pregnant with my second baby. I had my daughter in March of 2020, so I wasn't allowed any visitors in the hospital, and we decided to be safe and not allow any visitors for a couple of months after coming home. My parents hated this rule we had set, mainly my dad. My dad drove my mom and brother crazy those entire 2 months. They would beg us to let them visit because of how my dad would take his frustration on not seeing my baby out on them. We, of course, did eventually lift our ban on visitors when May was almost over. Which was a whole other can of worms. Now we are pregnant with our second and have moved to a new state. About 16 hours away. I had loved not having visitors during the first 2 months with my first and intend on doing the same with this one. Especially since I will be adjusting to a new way of life. While on a video call with my brother, my mom loudly suggested he visit me in February. They were visiting my grandma and I felt brave enough to shout, "No. I don't want any visitors that month, I will either be huge and tired or have just given birth." My mom argued and said I will be adjusting to having a toddler to take care of while caring for my baby, so therefore, I will need help. My grandma heard this and said she'll manage. I had to. Remember, I had 4 all 2 years or less apart. And I did just fine. I love my grandma. Well, a few days after the video call, I was talking to my parents on the phone and my dad said, when we are there in February, don't worry, we will stay in a hotel. We will be there to help. You don't have to host. Excuse me. What? I said, I don't want any visitors that month. My dad said, we will be there to help. Even if it means taking my daughter, for a day so you can rest. I said, but I already told, brother, and mom that I don't want any visitors. My dad said, we missed so much when was first born, we don't want to miss any of those precious first moments with this one. Ugh. Reddit. Any suggestions? My husband said we should just not open the door, at all, when they get here. If they want to waste gas and vacation time, then that's their choice. Update, https://www.reddit.com/r/entitled-parents_my_refuse_entitled_parents_refuse_medium=app and UTM_medium=source=share. New update. https://www.reddit.com/r/entitled-parents/x3bxcw/new_update_my_refuse_medium=app and UTM_source=share. 2 mums allow their 4-ish-year-old boys to terrorize me at a skatepark until I am forced to leave, by user Ballsdeep. I was at a small skatepark on Tuesday morning last week. When I turned up there was nobody in the park at all, perfect, but there were 2 mums with their 2 small boys sitting on the grass on the edge of the park, no problem. As soon as I started to skate, the boys decided to sit on one of the ramps and start yelling at me, "Stupid old lady, I'm a man, you stink," etc. I ignored them to begin with, to be honest, as I don't really like kids. They did not stop, so I eventually laughed this off and said something like, "That's not very nice, haha." Then they proceeded to throw small rocks at me and a bottle cap. Repeatedly. Now even the tiniest rock can cause even the most experienced skaters to come off their board. I repeatedly asked them to stop and they would not give it up. I decide to skate at the other end of the park to get some peace and quiet. They decide to start chasing me, which is dangerous, and I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing. Nothing from the parents? I'm like, move, cause I don't wanna fall into you. One of them starts screaming at me, "If you don't listen to us, we're gonna pull your pants down." I said to him, "You definitely can't do that to someone you don't know, please just leave me alone." One of them then actually started to yank on my trousers and was trying to pull them down. Couldn't believe what was happening. Now this is the first time that I stopped treating them like it's just a kid thing, and I firmly and loudly tell them that I don't want to play their games and that I am serious and want them to leave me alone. I make sure the parents without a doubt can hear me telling off their kids. Still nothing from the parents, they just keep chatting. Did they respond to being told off and leave me alone? Did they fuck? They just continued to chase me and tug on my trousers, so I left. TDLR, I, 30-year-old man, was relentlessly harassed by 2 4-year-olds at a public skate park, while their mums literally sat there and watched until I was forced to leave. Entitled Mother and Daughter Try to Scam Hotel Restaurant, by user Hi Phoenix. Update time. Geez guys, I was having a nap, lol. Please find update after the first part of the story, thanks. Smiley face, buckle in guys, it's a long one. Also, on mobile, so sorry about formatting. I'm the food and beverage manager at a hotel that's right next to one of the most beautiful mountains in my country. That said, the hotel is literally in the buttfuck middle of nowhere, a 20 kilometers drive from the nearest main road into town. When it comes to bookings for the restaurant, the bookings are made at reception and the information goes in our booking file, which I check every day. I only get hands-on involved when the booking consists of 20 or more people. Any less than that are left to the restaurant supervisors, as I've started giving them more responsibilities. Now on to the main story. Our reservations manager called me one day, asking me to come take a look at an event that was just booked at our hotel. 25 guests, a woman, our entitled daughter, wants to have a birthday celebration for her mother's 52nd birthday. I think easy peasy. I get in touch with her, send her my wine and drinks list, she chooses what she wants and prepays for the drinks. Easy $7,000. A week goes by, and I get called by RM, the lady has upped her booking to 50 guests now. Immediately, I'm thinking, oh shit. The space she reserved for her celebration can hold maybe 40 people max, and she is bringing a few children as well. I get in touch with her again, explain that we will have to move her to our main restaurant area as the West Wing won't accommodate all her guests. I advise her that she can gladly choose our private venue, which is downstairs, mainly for conferences, but will have to pay an additional $7,000 venue hire. She opted for the restaurant. Side note, I mentioned the conference space as she wanted identical tables and chairs. Our restaurant has a mix of styles, I absolutely hate it, but anyway. I let her know that will be fine, and then I ask if she wants to keep her buffet option the same, to finalize what is due to cater for the additional people attending. She lets me know that she wants it the same as her original option, and I must just let her know what else is outstanding so that she can pay it. I'm thinking, great. Awesome client, will be a smooth evening as we are getting the finer details done 2 weeks prior. But, would I be posting here if that were the case? I chat to RM, we reconcile all her pops, and get a final amount due. I call the ed back, and let her know that about $8,000 is due. She is absolutely shocked and asks, but why so much? This is how the conversation went. Me, ma'am, you have only paid $5,000 so far, excluding your drinks. The total amount for the food is $13,250. Ed, but I've already paid so much money, why am I being charged so much for the food? Me, you will be having 50 guests, and the buffet option you have chosen is $265 per person, this comes to $13,250. With you already having paid $5,000, this leaves $8,250 due. Ed, no, then something wasn't explained to me properly. When I spoke to RM, she said that the buffet option that I chose, I only have to pay for 30 guests and then I can add people on if I want. Me, trying to comprehend what this grown woman has just said to me, ma'am, the buffet option that you chose, can only be provided if your booking is 30 people minimum, then every person you add onto that, is charged on top of that. Ed, no OP, this was not explained to me properly. I literally face-palmed myself. Our RM has been doing her job beautifully for the last 6+ years, so at this point I was highly doubting that she explained it in the way that Ed was saying. But I give her the benefit of the doubt, ruling it out to simple miscommunication. We'll get it sorted, right? Insert Donald Trump wrong meme here. She finally accepts that she has to pay the remaining balance, but gives me the silent treatment after that. Over the next 2 weeks I text her about certain details I just want to confirm, but she never responded. Then the event rolls around yesterday. Supervisor 1 and myself set the restaurant up neatly, move some other tables upstairs to our loft area so that our in-house guests can have a space for dinner without being bothered by the celebration in the main restaurant. Entitled daughter finally shows up at around 11 a.m. with her decorator to get the final touches done. She is very happy with the space, compliments our service, and keeps calling me sweetie, ugh, and then we leave her and the decorating team to do their things so that we can get the lunch and dinner setups done. I'm nearing an 8-hour shift by the time I can finally sit down and just eat, having worked 12 days in a row now with multiple double shifts, and suffice to say, I am a little cranky. I do my own scheduling, I am working a lot due to being understaffed in the restaurant, so I am there a lot to help my staff. I took one bite of my food, and my office phone rings. I see that it's the front desk's extension. I answer. Receptionist 1, hi OP, Ed wants to speak to you. Me, trying to not cry, okay, I'll be there now. I put my pizza slice down, take a sip of my Red Bull, and trot off to reception. I spot Ed standing at reception, looking absolutely defeated. I put on my best customer service smile and speak in a sickly sweet voice. Hi ma'am, is everything all right? Ed, no OP, I am just being told now that I cannot bring my DJ. I stand there, dumbfounded. Ed, why was I not told before that I cannot bring a DJ? I've already paid for him, and I don't think I will get my money back as he is already on his way here. Me, ma'am, you never mentioned that you were bringing a DJ? Ed, no OP, I did. When I did the walk around with RM, I mentioned that I was going to bring a DJ and she said that it was fine. I've wasted more money now. I give a quick glance toward the front office manager, a silent plea. Ed, and now FOM is being so rude to me, making me feel like I am stupid, telling me that it's a public area and obviously a DJ would be a problem. I just look at her, nodding. Ed, what am I going to do now? I guide her away from reception, explaining that because this is a hotel, we cannot accommodate a DJ in the restaurant, as we have guests that would be disturbed by the music. We have to take our other guests into consideration. She sighs, puts her hand in front of her mouth, and just says, is there any way we can get the DJ here? I tell her that the best I can do is create a playlist for her on our sound system in the restaurant. She accepts this, begrudgingly, and wanders off to her decorating team. I shoot a look to FOM again, and I just see her smirking. I love that woman's no-nonsense attitude. I disappear to my office again, my pizza cold by now, and just frown. I plop down on my chair, and shuffle pizza into my mouth, trying to also get as much work done as possible before the start of the event at 4 p.m. so that I can be present on the floor. 4 p.m. rolls around, I am exhausted. Having worked 10 hours already, I just need to stay around for an hour to make sure everything is fine, then I can slip away. We set out 58 plates, 50 guests and 8 children, as was confirmed, and we let the party begin. They are loud. Oh my God. Supervisor 1, Supervisor 2, and myself have to constantly ask for music to be put softer, for them to not scream, that we have guests in the loft area. But this falls on deaf ears. Supervisor 2 eventually said that if they continue to be too loud, we will have to ask them to leave. This finally kicks in. They tone it down. I make sure my staff are okay, that all areas are covered, and have a quick chat with a few guests, and head off for the night. I have accommodation in the hotel as I was placed here on a temporary contract to fix the food and beverage department, to then be transferred to a hotel in the same group in my city, about 4 hours away. I try to relax as much as possible, but knowing I have a proper Karen on my hands, I only stayed away for about an hour. I got dressed in casual clothes, and headed back to the restaurant. What I saw nearly gave me a heart attack, that, and the 3 Red Bulls I've already had at that point, there were easily 60 people flocked in the restaurant, not the 50 that were paid for. I walk into the kitchen, and the chefs are visibly panicking. They can't keep up with the amount of food that's being needed to replenish the buffet station. Executive Chef, OP. There are more than 70 people. What is going on? Okay, so I am going to end the story here, as it is already ridiculously long. If this gets enough attention, I will post an update to finish the story with the rest of the night, and also about sour confrontations with the entitled mother, and the entitled daughter and her friend the next morning. Update. I honestly didn't expect this to gain much traction, but who here doesn't love some classic drama? Okay, so after the executive chef was practically pooping her pants, I went to FOM's office with a look that screamed emergency. I told her that there are way too many people here. She calmed me down. I too can be a drama queen, and grabbed 2 cigarettes for us to quickly go smoke. Once we were back inside, we went upstairs to the loft area that overlooks the restaurant. We did a walkabout and did a head count each. She counted 72, I counted 74, but I was absolutely exhausted, so I could have been wrong. She counted again, 72. At that point, FOM was so tired of this woman and her antics, calling her a chance taker, that she just burst out laughing. FOM and I went to her office, on our way, looking for Ed so I could discuss the extra attendees. Could not find her at all. It was a themed event and every single person wore white. A sea of fucking snow, almost. I shoot her a text, explaining that we have done a headcount and now the additional buffets need to be rung up on her docket, and she needs to pay the balance so that we can settle it on the point of sale. I finally spotted her through the tinted window between the office and reception, phone ever so gracefully lighting up her face. She squinted, stared at her phone some more, whispered to the person next to her, then called Supervisor 2 over to her. Oh boy, here we go. I chat some more with FOM, and Supervisor 2 walks in, almost laughing. S2, OP, Ed is asking for you. I grin at FOM and she just wishes me luck. I walk over to our lounge area next to reception where Ed is sitting with 3 other ladies. One of which was wearing a big puffy white dress, similar to a wedding dress. Ah, you must be the guest of honor. Ed, OP, I'm stressing about this bill now. I was having such a great night, and now I feel it is just spoiled. I look at her holding the check, a nice, fat 24,000 something bucks in bold. I snicker internally to myself. This check was her drinks and all buffets. Me ma'am, you informed us that you would be attending with 50 guests. We have to charge you for the food that your guests have eaten. Thank fuck that we always do keep a fair amount of food in the fridge as in case of emergency, because we can just suddenly have a party of 20 people wanting to have lunch on a lastminute.com walk-in. Ed, but OP, the point of a buffet is that it's all you can eat. The food ran out so quickly. Me, ma'am, with all due respect, it would run out quicker than expected due to having to cater for over 70 people, instead of 50. We catered for 50 people having at least 2.5 portions each. That's an extra 50-odd portions that were unexpectedly needed. This is where the entitled mother finally steps up. In her big-ass poofy dress, looking down at me, this is not right. My daughter has paid a lot of money and still she is treated poorly. Your service staff are disgustingly rude. That lady, FOM, is so rude and it's just shocking. Ed, yes OP, I don't have this kind of money. And with all my money being wasted on the DJ that I could not get here, I will only be able to pay on the 31st, 4 days after her event. My eyes widen a little at the sudden hostility, as I felt I've been very respectful and have been trying to resolve this amicably. Me, unfortunately you will have to settle the balance before you leave the premises. Whether that be when you check out tomorrow, or leave tonight. We cannot allow you off of the property without paying. Huffs and puffs and says something to her daughter in a language that I do not understand, very common language spoken here, but I am part of the minority that doesn't speak it. I speak to FOM and Supervisor 2 that she needs to sign her bill before she leaves the restaurant. I am mentally drained, and I peace out for the night. Next morning, a new day full of opportunities to resolve the bitterness from last night, a new day full of promising drama. I am up early, get dressed and head for the restaurant. It is super quiet and I make myself the most god-awful cappuccino I have ever made in my life. I get to work, chat with the executive chef, and being typical women, we gossip about the previous night. And always remember, speak of the devil and you shall step on his tail. My office phone rings. It's reception. I giggle as I answer, eager for some drama. But alas, I was not blessed. The security at the main gate gives each guest a slip with a gate code for when they leave. When a guest loses their slip, a senior manager has to escort the guest to the main gate, confirm that the guest has stayed at the hotel, sign their new slip and off everyone goes. I am lazy as fuck. I refuse to walk the 500m or 600m way to the main gate, so I go to my hotel room, get my car keys, and drive to the main gate. Oh lord, do I start drooling, it's the wine red colored Mustang GT that FOM and I have been eyeing every time we went to smoke. Just pure chef's kiss perfection. Security lets them out, I wish them a pleasant trip and drive back to the hotel. I forgot my cigarettes in my hotel room that morning, so I informed EC that I'm taking my keys back to my room, grabbing my smokes and then I want to go fucking smoke. It's nearly 10 AM and I need nicotine. On my way to my room, I pass reception. Oh god. There's Ed, an entitled friend. Entitled friend spots me, little white lady that's been so accommodating to our every insufferable need, and snaps her fingers at me, beckoning me over like a mutt. I stick on a smile, just desperate to go smoke. Rather wanting to put a fire out with my face than talk to this piece of work. Screaming, you need to do something about FOM. She is the rudest person I have ever dealt with. You need to speak to her, teach her how to treat guests. I calmly raise my hands, asking her to please keep her voice down, and to please explain what happened. She practically spits out a repetition of what she just said. I ask to be excused, and slip into FOM's office. She is just smirking. This is what FOM told me happened, when I was letting the guest out at the main gate. Receptionist 2 was helping them finalize payments so that they can check out and just leave to be Death Eaters elsewhere. FOM hears a slight commotion start up, and goes to the front desk to ask if she can be of assistance. Ed, and F just unleash at her, saying that she must not even speak to them. She's rude, and F even dared her to come around to this side of the desk, recording FOM and threatening to post our terrible hotel on Twitter. FOM ignored everything after that and stepped back into her office. We contacted the director of operations for our group and explained the whole story. I actually heard him laugh through the earpiece. FOM grabs OD's business card, hands it to me, and asks me to give it to them, to email him directly about all their concerns. When I stepped out to hand it to them, explaining that we have spoken to OD, with a slight smile on my face, F looks defeated at this point. Taking the card, she sets it down on the counter, and just walks away. In the beginning, they tried to pay less for more people, got caught, then still brought more people thereafter. Then it turned to excuses like "oh no, I can't pay," to a flurry of verbal abuse to scare us into dropping the extra charges. After they paid and left, we burst out laughing, wishing, oh so badly, wishing that the hospitality purge thingy could be real. That we get one time a year, that we can pepper spray a guest. Hope you all enjoyed. I sure as fuck did, and we made killer money last night, thanks to M and Ed finally coughing up what they owed us. Thanks for reading.